أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
All right. Welcome back. Greet you all degrees of peace, paradise, and prosperity. We say it in the Quranic Arabic language. Assalamu alaikum. We thank you all for joining us, rejoining us. How you feeling, Bilal?
Feeling good. Brother Dean, we're here, we're live, we're direct. We're continuing our week full of engagement and exchange. We call this an exchange. And our theme is the new Declaration of Independence. So we are at our 3 o'clock hour, and we have a very, very special guest with us that we'll bring on momentarily. But I feel great, man. This is going to be a great show.
Excellent. As you saw in that video today, that was a young brother, Sharif Abdul Malik, who's the founder and CEO of New Africa Ventures, who also produced We Buy Black. And
Correct.
As we mentioned yesterday, they are planning for New Africa August, which is focused on, whereas African American History Month is focused on our history, New Africa August is focused on us planning for the future. So look out for that, New Africa August. Just one little caveat to his calling of the adhan, how you heard the noise around him, right? And normally in our tradition, when we call the adhan,
it's quiet.
It's around people who it's quiet, right? And so I take that as we're reclaiming and claiming this new Declaration of Independence, there's going to be a lot of noise all around you. No matter what message you're presenting, there's going to be always noise around you. But you stand firm, you stand strong, and share the message to the world. So that's what we're happy here to do. Outside of all the noise that's around us, we've been getting videos about the certain groups are going to go rampage on blacks this weekend, and
heard about that. Yeah, I was inboxed by that.
Yeah. So, and it's like, we're not going to get that too much energy. I mean, of course, you have to take certain things serious and be cognitive of certain things, but at the end of the day, God got you, and we'll be good. You know what I mean? So let us link up with those who have like minds and stay strong. So, but today we offer. You ready? You got somebody else? What's up?
No. I just want to drop in. I just want to drop in the caveat that today we have a New Freedom Exchange presents Busted right there. We have the one and only Sister Monica Grant with us, Queen Monica Grant with us. She's going to be doing launching her book today, her book launch for Mind Your Business book launch. And
so she's preparing. She's giving us a premiere.
Exclusive.
I mean, this is just the announcement to the announcement for the grandstand. You know what I mean? So we're honored to have her here. She was a classmate of mine. We was in the authorship class with our dear sister Asia Nasir, who was on early this week.
Yes.
So we got a piece of her earlier, and now we have another fireball, as we call her, down to earth, made it accessible for us to present her and her story and her business and her new book coming out called Mind Your Business and Prosper, a young entrepreneur's guide to being successful. We welcome the one
Woo-wee.
and only Monica Grant.
What's up, family? What's going on?
Yes. Peace,
What's going
peace.
on?
Peace and love.
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. So we didn't really get to go all through your bio, but maybe in a few moments, can you share with us a brief snap of who is Monica Grant?
I was brought to this earth to bring balance, and every situation that I'm in, I seek how to shift the energy to just do that, to protect my eye. And right now, in my days as a 30-plus-year-old woman, I'm in the media world, but before I was a community organizer. And so those skills have built upon each other. And right now I'm using media to bring about balance and a shift within our community and our consciousness, particularly with what we see in front of the TV, but also what we see behind the screens, and just being able to empower a lot of people that never thought that they would be able to actually be on TV and see themselves on the screen, and also have our conversations actually be taken serious, So I'm just your sister. That's it,
Absolutely.
And I'm here to do work.
Excellent. We your brothers, you know what I mean? So we got your back.
I love it.
Well, you jump right in. Let's talk about media in itself. Like, what is the responsibility of those who are in media, for, like you said, behind the scene as well as to their audience?
Well, I think that no matter what you do, you have to go in with your purpose. Like, what is your purpose with anything that you do? And my purpose, even as a young child, was to, and I write about this in the book, I always knew that I was going to be a boss. Like in the 5th grade, I had that vision in my head. I always knew I was going to be an entrepreneur. I always knew that I was going to be in control of my destiny. And that's why I can say, like, I came in here with like a suitcase saying, this is my plan. This is what I'm going to use. These are my resources. These are my parents. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Let's work it. And so when it comes to media or just organizing or anything, my intentions are to make my people that look like me, Black folks, Moors, melanated ones, Nubians, African heritage, whatever we want to call ourselves, I've been put here to help my people. And so through media, that's my goal, right? Now, how other people use it, I'm not here to tell anybody else what they need to do with their life. I don't spend my time doing that. I do what I need to do so I can get out the way. And so as my role as a media person, my role is to always, one, educate the producer. I educate my producers on what their purpose of their program is. So if you're going to produce a show with me, what is your desired outcome of this program? Do you want to uplift your audience? Do you want to educate your audience? Do you want to heal them through laughter? You want to heal them through trauma therapy, because we have a show on trauma therapy, which is really nice and sexy with Chantel. Go ahead, sis. Everything has to have an intended impact. You cannot be on my brand without actually having an impact for the people. And that's how I operate. And that's how, like, people just gravitate to me, because there's so many of us that want to do the work. They just never thought, like, yo, I could be on TV. And so that's how, like, I build my company. How anybody else does it, it's up to them, because you also got to deal with your own God. You got to deal with your own karma. Like, I'm here to really clear out my karma, pay off my karmic debt, and so it just goes back to the focus, because I'm not concerned about these YouTube views or how many followers I have. I want to build leaders, and so I'm building leaders within my company. I'm building, like, my producers are leaders that could then produce more content that can then inspire their audience and their generation. So I have old bosses and young bosses on the platform that are really for the people and for the cause. And so as a media person, that's my goal and my responsibility that I take on.
Wow. That's a lot to unravel.
I'm sorry.
No, it's a lot to unravel, but no, I want to touch more about a little deeper into your story as to, what really motivates you, inspires you to go into media and be this person that you are right now standing in front of us.
For sure.
Now.
So like, I mean, I'm an 80s baby. So, you know, I didn't grow up with a cell phone, but I saw them come in. We saw the internet come in. We saw the video cameras go from this big old box with the tape in it to the little disc to now it's just an SD card, you know? And so to see all of that unravel, we've all touched media in so many ways, right? So I'm not here to say that I'm the best cinematographer, even though my stuff is dope because I worked on my craft.
Sure.
You know, I didn't go to school for this. I'm definitely self-taught and self-motivated, but the calling of media gravitated to me. When I moved to New York, I became a professional community organizer, and I had some projects I was working on. I had a poetry book that I was dropping, and so producing media goes hand in hand with business, right? And in New York City, there is what we call like the public access networks. And so you can go to the public access networks and get certified to touch the equipment and, you know, to be in the studio. And when I went to certification class, I got tapped on the shoulder, and I believe everything is destined. That's why I don't take credit for my purpose here. I'm just working the purpose. I'm working the plan. I was tapped on the shoulder by a woman in the class, and she was like, "Hey, Monica, would you like to help me produce my show?" And so it's a white woman. And so for 2 years, she's paying me to help her, you know, to produce her show. And she just needs like somebody that's consistent, dedicated. I'm a hard worker. I'm going to do the work. But what she's doing is she's taking her one show and launching it into a network. And so she don't know who I am. So I'm learning the game. And so
She giving you the blueprint. She giving you the blueprint.
So she showed me the format of how like she would have these 12-minute interviews, and she'd have like, people lined up. All right, who's next, Monica? All right, so let's bring in Mike. All right, Mike, you get the water. Let me get you mic'd up. All right, I'm gonna press record. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2. You got it. You know, that would be the system. And so we record like once a week. You know, but we're doing 6 or 7 interviews at a time. She's changing outfits, she's doing makeup and all that. And so for 2 years, I'm learning the game. And then also people are hitting me up and like, "Yo, Monica, when you gonna do your show?" You know, kind of joking around, but it's like, yeah, like that has to come. That something has to come out of me. I'm not here to work for somebody else. I'm just here to learn, you know, from her. So she ends up moving out to Miami because she goes to start her own network. You can look it up. It's called the Binge Network. And I produced the first 100 episodes of her network. After those 2 years, the day that I shot my first episode of Master Plan was the last time I saw her in person. And it was kind of like that passing the baton. And so she had her mompreneur audience. And so I pretty much took her entire format and said, I'm going to do this for my people. And so that's why I believe like everything is ordained just to have that experience and to be able to witness what I was witnessing, you know? And then from there, I knew that Young Boss Media was not just my show. I really interviewed entrepreneurs once so I can, you know, improve my business and gain business skills. But then also I knew that I had to train people. You know, I'm an organizer. I got to train leaders. And so when people would come to ask me like, "Yo, how can I help?" I would start training them, you know, and I developed the Producer Academy and just different training mechanisms to really bring people on board, teaching them how to write treatments, teaching them how to take an idea from, you know, their mind to manifest it into a pilot, into a season, into season 2, how to market it, how to brand it, how to promote it, how to be crazy on interviews. When people ask you questions, you just go in all the time. You don't stop until they cut you off. You know, that's what I teach people. And it's just been one unfolding, beautiful journey since the launch of it, you know. And so there's been ups and downs, but in the media space, you know, I've definitely gotten a lot of feedback to let me know like this is where I'm supposed to be right now in my life.
No, right on. Hold the phone. Hold on. We got a special. We gotta pump the brake. This is our co-host. She didn't came in. She was missing in action.
Sister Marsha.
Marsha's on the screen.
Walaikum assalam. Sister Marsha.
I wasn't gonna let y'all get this one without me. I had to balance out the female energy.
That's right.
Absolutely. So as you are listening, audience, those who don't know, this is our co-host, Sister Marsha. She's on our Monday night, 7 p.m. on station IWGN broadcast, Blog Talk Radio, and she's on us when we have our different platforms throughout the week. So we're glad for you to be here with us. Sister Marsha, welcome.
Yes, I was just listening to the sister drop in. I was just like, okay, boss chick. I feel it.
Thank you.
I feel it. Okay. So I'm just gonna lay back and listen to a little bit more. And as y'all know,
No, she ain't. No, she ain't. She gonna jump in. She
gonna
gonna
jump in. She gonna jump in.
A little bit.
This show home.
But Monica, can you speak to the importance? I want to get into this part too. The importance of us as African Americans, as people of descendants of Africa, descendants, of ancestry that connects back to the motherland. The importance of imagery as far as culture. We have these images that's portrayed in the media that portrays the African American in a non-good way, a very disrespectful, very stereotypical, very racist, all those words. Can you speak to the importance of the contribution to what you're making to the culture, as they say, in the cultural piece, for the upliftment of the African American male and female?
Absolutely. Thank you for that question. And so, we know the phrase, you are what you eat, and you expect what you see, right? You don't have a concept of anything else other than what you have seen. And so I remember at Delaware State, shout out to all my HBCUs, I was in class with Dr. Casson, and she was talking about her trips to Africa. And I raised my hand, because I was bold. I've always been bold. And I was like, Casson, so when you go to Africa, you fly in and you're at the airport. What happens after the airport?
Right.
Because I have a concept of an airport.
Right.
But I have no other concept of Africa. Right. None. Are there taxis there? The hotel? And I'm probably 19 something, And so I should know. I'm old enough to have been, if there was imagery, to have been exposed to that imagery. But I was just bold enough, and I know the other kids in the class did not know what Africa represented or what it looked like. I'm just bold enough to say, I don't know what to expect. And so I took a trip to Senegal. That was my first trip to Africa. And loved it. Beautiful. But I had no way to understand, why don't I know about this? Why don't I know that this exists? Why don't I know that there's beautiful Black people that out here, and it was exam time when I was there, that are out studying and reading books when I'm at Dale State saying, hey, you got the answers to the quiz, you want to help me out? And there's cultures of Black people, a continent of Black people that take education seriously. They take family seriously. They take their values seriously. And unless I had got on that plane and taken a risk, I would have never been exposed to that. And so when I got back from my trip, this was in 2007, I believe, 7 or 8. I was just telling everybody about it. You got to know about Africa. You got to go to Africa. It's beautiful. Senegal is amazing. And so I knew from there that because we didn't see things. We didn't see things on our TV, and we grew up with TV. We had a certain idea of what being Black is and what being white is and being smart, and then also growing up in the hip hop era when you had gangsta, you had to have gone to jail. You might need to shoot somebody in order to be cool. Our whole perception of success is still warped. You need to be a rapper. You need to be to be in a sport in order to be successful. A ball player, to be successful financially, but also to be successful in relationships. Don't nobody want no smart, good guy. Why? You feel me? Because these are the things that we have seen, and then enjoyed. We've enjoyed the bad guy getting the cute chick. We've enjoyed all these negative stereotypes because we didn't have an alternative. And so really just through my experiences, it's I've had this really unique experience in Africa and nobody else knows about it unless they've been to the continent. So
Sure.
what can I do to start to expose more people to not just Africa, but just other stories, you know? Because the story that me and Sister Marsha gonna have, they're not gonna put it on TV unless Young Boss Media talks about it.
Right.
You know, because they're not gonna think that our conversation together is important. You know, but I think it's important. So like that's how I started the company. It's like I want to have conversations that I have with my sisters every single day on TV.
Right.
You know, I want to have these conversations that we know that we have in our living room when a neighbor come over and we talking smack. I want to put those conversations out there because they're not unique to us, but they're unique to television. They're unique to media because so long we've only had this one image of what it means to be us. And like, I'm not cool with that.
Right. And so I think it's important when you use the term exposure, right? Because depending on where you're from and, you know, who you know, or, you know, what your parents' status was when you were younger, your exposure is different. We're not monolithic in terms of Black people. You know, we all have a different story. You just talked about the fact that, you know, growing up with hip hop, you know, gangster rap was the thing. You know, you had to be hard, you had to be tough in order to be cool. And that's not all of us. I actually heard a sister, I watched a YouTube the other day and the sister was talking about the fact that, you know, well, I didn't grow up in the hood. And it's just like, wow. Because in my mind, right, I grew up in the hood. So in my mind, I might think everybody grew up in the hood, right? Yeah. So I think that the story is the same for you as it is for me. And it's not just because we're Black. So it's important that you mention exposure because the story winds up being different for each of us based on what we're exposed to. And then I love the fact that you talked about the fact that you asked the question about Africa, right? Because I'm thinking back to when I was younger. And, you know, it was always give $1 a day for these children with flies flying around their heads. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, that's not the whole story. And somebody posted on Facebook the other day a picture of Ghana. And it was a beautiful picture of all these houses. And it just looks so beautiful. And it's like, this is what Ghana looks like. I don't know what story you've been told. Or how it was relayed to you, or who was shaping the narrative for you, but this is what it looks like. So I think it's so important that you're doing that for us.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, and it's a collective effort, you know. Just really the response of, because you know I was always the crazy one. Like now it's cool to be Black Lives Matter, right? I was that one in middle school saying, "No, this ain't right."
Yes. And they're like, "Girl, sit down. What you doing?"
Like, here she go again. You know, Monica.
Yeah.
And so now it's just like really seeing the reception of everybody. It lets me know, like, one, it's important to stay like gun ho on what you see as your vision, but also like people are ready. Like folks are ready, you know, and it's not like, and I don't be hating on other media platforms. It's like, no, we need so much different media to really capture all of our stories, you know. And so that's why I focus on training. It's like, yo, I'll train you and go out and live your best life, you know, and put it on camera.
No, I agree, and I would like to add another point is that it's never too many. It's never too many. And the avenues, there's many avenues to come in and travel through. You know, some many doors. They come through many doors. There's many doors to come through. And like, you know, this whole notion of, I think there's another notion that, oh, I have to tear down someone else in order to get to where I'm going. That's whack. That's corny, man. Because to be honest, there's so many. Everybody can eat. Everybody can eat. There is no like all this stuff about like I gotta hate on this brother or this sister. That's whack. That's corny. Right. So it's like we need to stop that too, because we also shoot each other in the foot. When we do that, we shoot each other in the foot, and we need to really support each other. You know, more. You know, something saying, and I like what you're doing as far as you mentioned the training of other people who's going to come into the culture as far as film or podcasting or whatever it may be. You know, something saying, because guess what? We're living in a time where, you know, education, they're talking about cutting education here in New York. Talking about it could cut education by the state. It could lose millions of dollars. Summer youth program just got reinstalled back. But it's like, it looks different now. All this, since we're in this COVID thing, everything looks different.
Right.
So how can you speak to how your platform, and you also speak to your platform. We want you to talk about your platform too. So mine's a two-part question. Talk to your platform, and also talk to us about due to this current social and civil unrest and COVID, is that having an impact on your brand, or how do you see your brand making an impact now?
Yeah. So prior to Corona, we have our for-profit and our non-profit, right? Our for-profit, Young Boss Media, INC, is the producer. We produce the TV shows, the radio shows, the media, and then we take on clients from big nonprofit organizations that can afford to really, because I used to be an organizer. And so I I know what the budgets look like. So I go like,
right.
You can pay an organizer, $50K. That's what I'm going in and thinking, because really what I am is an organizer behind the camera. And so really with my camera, I can actually reach more people utilizing these videos. And so that's the kind of conversation I go in with to the nonprofit for the for-profit side. And I always give out the business, because we ain't gonna hide none of this. And so that's how we survive, pay the bills, but then also have the money to have the free time to produce projects for free, to produce shows that aren't making revenue, but they're important for the culture, right? And so we balance that out, right? And so that's within the for-profit, and then within the nonprofit, we have Young Boss Media Activist Institute, because we promote media activism, utilizing media as a form of activism. We train young people in high school and young college students how to become media activists. And so that's within our nonprofit side. But all of this is within the Young Boss umbrella, right? And so after COVID, I won't say after COVID, the day COVID hit, I had just finished the Landmark Forum. I don't know if y'all have heard of that, but it's a personal development, and it really helped me. It's phenomenal. And
I heard it's thorough.
Yo, and like, if you got the opportunity to go, I would say go. And it was somebody referred me. I was like, nah, I'm good. Ain't nothing wrong with me. But I trusted the sister, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do the forum, and it's a 3-day program, and it really helps you identify like the blind spots. So I'm gonna speak on that just a little bit, because it'll lead to why I made the move that I did. In Landmark, I realized that I was afraid when people told me like, "Yo, you the next Oprah." I'd be like, "Nah, I'm good, son. Like Oprah good. I'm cool." But what I was really afraid of is, one, Oprah is some big shoes to fill, right?
Yeah.
And that requires a lot of work, and there's a lot of responsibility that comes with being the next Oprah or the next Tyler Perry or anybody, right? That's a big requirement, and as people, a lot of us are afraid of success. A lot of us are terrified of success, and
yes, ma'am.
And I remember. Wow. Just a year ago, Nipsey Hussle. I was in bed for a week. Like I was like, I don't know who these cats are on my block. I don't trust these folks, And so I started living in a shell, Even when I have a life. And so Landmark really helped me address that. And I was like, yo, I want to live bigger. I want to live my full potential. And so literally like the next week, all the schools shut down in New York City. And so because I had created all these new possibilities for my life, I knew that if these students were out of school, they would need something to do. So I sent out a massive email to all my contacts, and I was like, listen, I got a non-paid internship program. And I really didn't have a plan other than just providing some type of work, they work on projects, when they have the time. And so from there, I got literally the schools closed on Monday. I had a program by Wednesday. I had orientation on Tuesday, and I had a program on Wednesday. Wow. And so I would meet with my students twice a week. And from there, they started building their own podcast. One has his own YouTube channel. One became a photojournalist writing. We developed a virtual community, YoungBossMBA.com. And so we're developing that into like the young LinkedIn for entrepreneurs, where we can connect like businesses and nonprofits that are looking for media activists, social media gurus, or young kids that can do the social media, and we can link them together to find paid and non-paid experience. And so all of this came from me just saying like, yo, there's a large amount of opportunity here. I don't care what's going on. I'm not going to sink just because America is sinking. This is actually
correct.
time for me to rise when America sinks. I rise. We rise.
Yes.
This is actually a good time. And then because I was so used to going down to 59th Street to the studio, getting on the phone, bouncing around, and spending so much time commuting and all that, just being home and being able to access my students from the laptop, it really saved me a lot of time. And so I had a lot of time to think. I had a lot of time to really also like just become a better me and more involved in me. And so through that space of teaching, I was like, yo, I still want to do interviews. And so what I did was I have my shows that are studio based. So like my main program is called Master Plan, where I interview entrepreneurs. I knew that I didn't want to try to reproduce or produce the same show in the virtual world. So what I did was I just rebranded it, and so now in the virtual world, Master Plan is mentorship call, right? And so we get people on the call, entrepreneurs, people like yourself, and pretty much I was talking to them like, yo, how do you do what you do? Why is it important? And how can young people learn from you? Mm-hmm. And so through these calls, you're learning, and through interviewing, you're learning, you're catching the game, you're catching gems that you start to apply and implement in your own life. So by April, I'm like, all right, I'm ready to bring back programming. I'm ready to do virtual shows. And so we had mentorship calls, and I spoke with some people that were interested, and I was like, you know what? I always wanted to do like The View, but for us, right? Mm-hmm. And so,
AKA The Real View.
The real view. That's super funky. Yeah.
The Real View. And I like names. And so I reached out to some sisters of mine that I had worked with before, and it's 7 of us. And one is Asia's daughter. And I was like, yo, I got a show idea called Make Lemonade. When life gives you lemons, what you do? You make lemonade. Oh, yeah. And I wanted to do our version of The View, and we can just come together and talk, once a week. And so when I first started producing, I used to send out like these blanket emails and just see who responded. With this email, I sent to 6 women, me being the 7th one, and everybody said yes. And I was like, all right. So here we go. We have a show. And so we started producing Make Lemonade, and that still goes on. That's every Tuesday at 3 p.m. And it's become, it started off as 7 sisters in New York in a quarantine to 7 sisters discussing the uprising, discussing the lynchings, discussing the stimulus checks, discussing where you need to go and get the hand wipes and the hand sanitizer. So it's become a pillar of the network now that didn't exist pre-corona, right? Mm-hmm. We developed a show called People Always Ask, and the sister name is Chantel, and she's a trauma therapist. And I'm like, sis, like, yo, we need you right now. And I reached out to her because this was right when George Floyd happened, and I have a lot of international contacts, and people were like, yo, are you going to do something about police brutality? And I was like, honestly, I don't really know how having Black people get on and talk about something that we already know exists and has been happening for years actually going to help the problem. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I don't want to be that brand. Like, I really want to bring solutions. And so I reached out to her and I was like, yo, can you just get on the camera and talk to people and like help them through this? And so in 3 hours, she's on live. Made the flyer, put it out. She said, bet. She's on live 3 hours later. And she was healing people. She started to like give us tips on how we can deal with our emotions during watching constantly Black people get murdered on TV, right? And so and I knew like this is where I want to be. There's people that will continue to cover the deaths and the assassinations and this and that. I really want to be in the healing business, And so she has a show every Thursday at 7:30. We have a financial tip show every other Wednesday, hosted by Queen Candace, and she got herself out of $50,000 debt and bought herself a condo in Jersey. We have Young Boss News every other Monday, and we're going to pick that back up more regularly. But just like creating content that actually has an impact, like that's my biggest thing. I don't care about being cool at all. Like Young Boss Media is all about the impact, because 50 years from now, 100 years from now, when people look back at this time, like what is happening? Am I just talking about some rap songs? Like, am I just doing something that's trendy? Or are these going to be the conversations that lead to, oh, it was like that before? Man, I'm glad it ain't like that no more. I'm glad they did something. You know, like that's what it has to be for me. Because my grandma watches Young Boss Media. She'll get on her smartphone. She's 87 years old. She'll get on her smartphone and watch. You're like, oh, I love that. That was good. You know, so like if I'm producing anything that my grandmother can't watch, what's up, Queen Candace? Yep, that's the financial system, the money management specialist. If my grandmother can't watch it and my little niece can't watch it, I'm not for it. And then we started this conversation, like you said, I'm doing a lot. Like I don't have nothing else to do but to do a lot. I ain't got nothing. I did not come here to pay bills and to work for nobody else. I am here to do this work, and then that's it, you know? And so Young Boss Media is all about the impact. What impact are we going to have on our people now and in the future, you know? And so even like with my producers, I need to know that, you know, if something happens to me, right? And this happens in movements. And so I'm always honest about that. If something happens to me, my producers better keep going. They better keep producing. They better keep bringing the content that's going to reshape how we see ourselves, you know? And so that's how I live. In Corona, I'm thriving because we need content more than ever. So like, yeah, this is what we've been waiting for, actually. Like, this is like prime time of my life.
So that leads right into your newest project. You had something, Monica?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
You know, I always got something.
So let's jump into your, because this is not your first book. You have other books, right?
Correct.
You'd like to share about your other books and then lead into this new one?
Yeah. So I've always been a writer, just out of, I think I first started writing out of stress and needing some place to vent and somebody to talk to. And so I ended up talking to myself, or, you know, with the pen and the paper. And when I got about, I guess like 25, I was like, yo, I got all these poems and I just want to compile them together. And so that was my first book. It's called Poems for My People and Me. And it comes from the Nina Simone song, Mississippi Goddamn, where she was like, I need justice, I need freedom for my people and me. You know, so I was like, well, yo, I got poems for my people and me. So like, what's up, you know?
Yes,
And so I released that, and the beautiful thing, I had a brother. This was after I went to Senegal, and so I had him draw Gory Island, and so through the door, no return on the book.
Powerful.
Yeah, yeah. And so that was my first project, right? Now, mind you, it's like having a baby, and I ain't got no kids, so I don't know. But I'm assuming it's like having a baby, but not realizing the work that it requires to actually take care of that baby once it's here. You know, so like having a baby is like, oh, it's cute. I love making it beautiful. Love food. But then the baby get here, it's like, oh, I got to feed it. I got to work. I got to pay bills. It needs a home. And so Poems for My People and Me was like the first time that it was like, oh, I have to market this. Oh, people just won't buy it because it's me. Oh, yeah. and so really digging into the business side of being an artist, you know. My second book, How to Organize Your Block, I was a community organizer. And so I knew that all these times that we've been talking about, what Black people need to do is this, what Black people need to do is this, what Black people need to do is organize, and just constantly organize around every single thing. No matter what. Just like we organize a Thanksgiving dinner, we got to organize everything.
Right.
You know, and so How to Organize Your Block, I'm in here sweating. I be sweating in every interview. I'm like a Batman. How to Organize Your Block was like the breakdown of just organizing, you know, find the issue. And you know what the issues are, you know, and then talk to your neighbor about it, and then how to deal with rejection if your neighbor don't necessarily want to talk about it. or they don't necessarily know how to communicate their issues, you know? And then what does the organizing lead to? It leads to building an organization of people that are going to do work to improve the community. You know, organizing is not just the protest. That's actually like a very small part of organizing. Right. Like there's meetings, there's solutions. You know, by the time we get to the protest, the politician or whoever the target is has decided they don't want to listen to it. So the protest is to apply pressure on that target. Now, once you get what you want, you go back to organizing again. All right, cool. They didn't like us showing up at their house. All right, cool. We know they pressure point. All right, boom. Now we're back. You still protest the protest, you know, even though it feels good, right? And so release that. Release that, and then my third book was Rules for a Young Boss, and this was the first time I used the phrase "young boss," and it was kind of like I would say it's a predecessor for Mind Your Business and Prosper, but it was more of like an idea versus like, and Mind Your Business and Prosper, I'm giving you examples of like, yo, with Young Boss Media, I was broke. I had to go to housing court. I had to deal with this and that. I had to make amends with enemies. I had to forgive a lot of people. I had to change my diet because I ain't had no money. I had to go to these networking events and eat there because I knew if it was after 6 o'clock, they were serving food. I had to walk around because I couldn't swipe everywhere. So I had to make sure I got there and then walk up and down all of Manhattan to get there. And then I would swipe my way home. That's a $5 day. So like really talking about my experiences, you know, so Rules for a Young Boss were kind of, you know, this makes sense, but like Mind Your Business and Prosper is like, yo, this is what I was doing. This is how it happens. And I will do it again any day. And really showing people like, and I think for me, the books are, particularly this book, and Young Boss Media in general, when we speak about entrepreneurship and you Google it and you YouTube it, you see a whole bunch of white kids in front of Ferraris coming out the big house. And like, it must be great to be white, but that's not my experience. You know? That's not my experience. Like, we're entrepreneurs because a lot of us can't get jobs. A lot of us is coming out of prison, or we're either overeducated, overqualified, or underqualified, you know? But like, we're not given the same opportunities in this country. So we have to become entrepreneurs. We have to become barbers, hairstylists, drug dealers, whatever, you know, just to make it. And so that's always what I wanted to bring to the table. Is like, yo, like for people that are just trying to make it and be their true selves and not feel like they got to sell their soul to wear that suit to be in that corporate office. That's always what the brand has had. Like that's our market, you know? So Mind Your Business and Prosper is my experience building the company, and you know, mind your business. We all know, mind your business. Stay, you know, like literally mind your business. Stay off the phone. We all up in social media, what Kanye doing, what Jay doing, what B doing. Love them, but they don't pay my bills.
Right.
It's true.
So I got to mind my business to make sure that my business is prosperous, you know?
Yeah.
But then also it's like everything that you are and that you do is your business. So my community is my business. That litter in front of my building is my business. You know, the fireworks going off is my business. You know, I can't, even as an organizer, and the reason why I got off the road was like, I'm out in California, I'm in Miami, I'm all these different places. But what if something happened right here in my home? I can't fight fires everywhere. I have to fight the fires right here, you know? And so really like on a lot of levels, like Mind Your Business is like really hone in on what's your purpose? Why did you come here? Like literally, why did you incarnate on this planet? What is your business? And then be about that business. And that's how you prosper. You don't prosper trying to be like Marsha. Only Marsha can be Marsha. That's it. Only Brother Dean can be Brother Dean. Only Bilal can be Bilal. Only Monica can be Monica. And if we stay in our lane and mind our business and really focus on like, why am I here? What am I here to accomplish? That's how you prosper. That's how your spirit is happy. That's how you're spiritually abundant and everything just works out for you, you know? And so that's what I had to figure out. And like, I've dealt with depression. I've dealt with alcoholism. I've dealt with a lot of things. And then when I came through the eye of the needle, really what I found was myself. You know, and like that's all I can live with. That's all I can give you is my authentic self. And so at the end of the day, all of my training, all of my books go back to that. There's not a magic answer. The goal is to get in front of that mirror and find out who you are, and then mind your business and prosper. Get to being successful, but you can't do that if you're trying to be like everybody else.
Yeah. I love all this. You got me hyped right now. You got me so hyped right now. I'm just like, yes, to everything that you're saying. One of the things I wanted to go back to, though, it was actually something that Brother Bilal brought up. He talked a little bit about, one of the things he said was everyone can eat. And I think that's so important, right? Because this crabs in the barrel kind of syndrome that we have in terms of, I have this idea, but she has this idea too, and he has this idea. And if we both birth our idea, or all three of us birth our ideas, now people have to choose between who they support. And so I want you to sort of talk about that in terms of there being abundance, right? And us personally operating from abundance. And then talk a little bit about that fear of success. Because, you mentioned in terms of you as a person, you're naturally bold, right? But we all don't have that. And so I'm sure that you encounter students in your training who have that fear. So how to get from being fearful to fearless.
For sure. And I might ask you to remind me, because I want to make sure I give heat and fire to both of those. So the first one is about abundance, right? So we know that we're only using about 5 or 10% of our brain.
Right.
So if all of us are, and that's like if you woke, right? So there might be some folks that ain't using none, and we know what they are. And so that's how we're operating as a population. Like the world is operating on about 5 or 10%. We have not seen our maximum. We have not seen anywhere close to what we're capable of, And that's how I'm always saying. It's like, and even like if all four of us have the same idea, because we're different spirits. We come from the same source, but we're different and we're unique. We're all going to execute them differently. And then that difference will actually appeal to different audiences.
Right.
You're going to pull in somebody just because you got a hijab on, and you're like, all right, that's my sister. All right. Oh, Monica got a hat on. All right, this for the tomboys, and like bring that in, And so, Bean got on a tie. All right, for the brothers, the respect. And so, but saying that you can be saying the exact same thing in the exact same studio, but that voice will speak to different people. And so when we say that only one person can do it, we're excluding all of our people. Is saying like, only one group is more important. And we know that for our history in this country, or just colonialism, the light-skinned group has been the most important group. So now anybody else, dark-skinned, obese, or just not feeling beautiful have been left out of any conversation. We've been excluded, right? And so it's important that all ideas are brought to the table. And so like when it comes to producing shows, I don't care if there's another trauma therapist that comes and says, Monica, I know you got a show with Chantel, but I want to do the same thing. I know for a fact that they're going to do it differently, right? But it happens with me like communicating that I want you to do it your way. Don't come in here thinking Monica wants something. Don't you care about what I want. You come in here and you do it your way so I can see how I can help you. I can't support you until I find out where you're coming from, and then I can help you be great where you are. Don't come in here thinking, Monica, young boss, she aggressive, so I got to do it like that. Listen, if you're an introvert and want to host a show, I support that. I want to see it done, but like I support where you're coming from, right? And so to answer your point about the fear of success and how do I coach students on how to get over their challenges. Part of it is just by doing the work, like small victories, because I think for me, that's how anything works. It's like, I just take them baby steps. And so I ask them, and this is like from my organizer skills, right? When you go into say I'm going into like a work site, right? And I meet one worker and they're pumped up. They're like, Monica's from the union. She's gonna organize us. And I'll be like, yo, like, I can't go inside the building. They're not gonna let me in. But like, yo, can you help me out? Like yeah, I can reach out to my coworkers. All right, well, how about you reach out to one coworker? Like, who would that one coworker be? Oh, well, John's all on board. You know, he definitely wants to do this. Like, all right, so how about this? Reach out to John and ask him to meet me at the McDonald's across the street. Y'all both come together tomorrow and we'll sit down. If tomorrow him and John are there or her and John are there, I know that I got to leave. Small victory. And I congratulate them. I get them some McDonald's or whatever, even though I don't eat that myself. But, you know, it's like those small victories. I organized and boycotted in the McDonald's all in the same time. But like those small victories of just like meeting people where they're at.
That's right.
You know, like I don't push myself on anybody. I say like, yo, I got a vision for a show. But like I want to see what you think about it. And whatever they bring me, that's what I take. That's what I put on my plate. It's like, all right, cool. This is what we cooking with? All right, bet. Let's see the first show. Okay, so first show, great. I'm glad that you started. I'm glad that you did it. All right, what do you think that you can do that you can improve upon for next time? And they'll tell me like, oh, well, I had a little, I fumbled around with the intro. I would like to get that better next time. And people already know. And so I guess people already know their mistakes. We don't have to remind people of their flaws, right? People already know like what they need to improve upon. They just need somebody that says, all right, cool, I heard you. All right, let's work together. I'm your accountability partner.
Yeah.
You know, and so through that coaching part, you know, that's why I have continuous shows producing, because I'm not your overlord. You know, I want you to be a young boss too. You know, I want you to bring me clients just like I'm bringing you clients. I just had like Queen Candace. She just opened up her nonprofit, and I'm already trying to put money in her account. Like, yo, I got a deal. Why can't you get a deal? You know, it's really about all of us being young bosses and all of us just being in control of our destiny. And I can't control your spirit. Like, you came in here with this natural gift. So like all I could do is be like, yo, I see your light and I just want to shine with you. That's it. So however I can help you and you helping me by putting content on the platform, like, come on. I ain't no angry boss now. I might be loud and aggressive, but I ain't no angry boss.
Before you do part two of the question, answer the question, we just want to do station identification. We're here at New Freedom Exchange, a cultural expression for social dignity and community empowerment, with the one and only young boss media, Monica Grant, who's introducing us to her work, her body of work, her experience, and also the launch of her new book that's coming out soon. So we thank you all for those who are joining us. We're also simulcasting on United Media Group, which is our international connection with our people in Ghana and Africa and around the world, the diaspora. So we welcome both of these platforms here today. We're honored to have our dear sister with us, and we'll get back to the show. Bing!
I love that.
Monica, you want to reinstate the question, Marsha, for the second part?
Well, I feel like she answered the both of them in terms of the fact that everyone can eat and sort of addressing that fear of success and getting started. And I like the fact that you pointed out, do it based on those small victories, right? So many times we're trying to eat the whole pie. It's like, well, just take a slice first. And I think a lot, depending on your personality type and, you know, and how you sort of maneuver through this world and what your examples were and what your models were, sometimes taking that, we want to see the whole thing like tomorrow, right? That's something that I said to because I have 3 girls, right? So, you know, I talked to them about that today, and the fact that, you know, I know that your generation like wants it tomorrow, but it's all these, you know, small victories that sort of get you to that destination, which is really not a final destination. It's just the open door to the next one.
It's a process. You gotta respect the process. It's a process.
Right.
You gotta love the process, you know, like we on TV, like we help the potential to influence people. Like if you don't love this part of like, yo, like one person watch my show, I don't care if it's just one person, but like shout out to you, one person. You know, like you have to love that process. And for me, like I have, you know, what I'm manifested in my mind, but also I enjoy the process of being like, yeah, I did say I wanted that 6 months ago, and here it is. Right. I enjoy that part, and that's definitely something that I want everybody to understand. Is like, it's like really love the work. You know, like just really love the, and then make the work fly, make it cool, make it jazzy. Because Black folks need coolness. Like you can't put nothing whack in front of Black folks.
Right.
Nah. So that's why I gotta be hype. I gotta be crunk. And they be like, who is this sister yelling all the time? You know?
Right. You need a little swag, just a little bit.
You gotta have a little bit of swag. Gotta have that swag.
Excellent. We're coming up on the hour. We don't want to hold you too much longer. Is there any questions or comments from our audience? We're here with Monica Grant. She's launching her newest book that's coming out soon. Oh yeah, talk about that. You're going to have an actual pre-launch party, right?
Yes, I'm working on a lot of things. So like I feel like it's all just launch mode, right? So we have we're also launching a few new shows. So Bridge the Atlantic is our Pan-African show that we're going to be launching very soon, either at the end of this month or beginning of August. Still working out the dates on that. We have the Young Lost Humanitarian Award that we're going to start our annual award ceremony. Award show. It's going to be on August 4th. That's Emancipation Day. Doing a lot of interviews. We have a new comedy show that we're launching on July 17th with Trina Be Real. That's going to be every Friday at 10 o'clock on a platform. And so really the goal is, no matter what, is just to put Young Boss Media in so many places that we are, you know, and then all roads lead to Young Boss Media. You know, all roads lead to youngbossmedia.com. The book is going to be like, if you read the book, I want you to come produce a show with Young Boss Media. I want you to be like, how can I send my kids to Young Boss Media? How can I donate to Young Boss Media? Please send me your money. Please, I'll take it. You know, all roads lead to Young Boss Media. So by the time we launch the book on August 17th, which is Marcus Garvey's birthday, you know, the Illuminati ain't the only people that can play with numbers. We play with numbers. You know.
First of all, your middle name, I did some science on that one. Second,
all day.
Yeah, you got something on that one.
I'm here to protect balance, baby. I'm here to provide. So I launched the book on Juneteenth, and we're going to release it for global release on August 17th, Marcus Garvey's birthday. So definitely, like, as the economy and different governments go into phase 2, the book launch for me and the company was really phase 2 of our Corona phase. So like the first phase was like just trying to see what works, doing the virtual show, the virtual interviews, teaching the kids. And so now like we got the kids back on payroll, they're getting paid by the DOE, and so they happy and very productive. You know, we were launching the book, we're launching new shows. And so then once we launched the book for global release on August 17th, I'm hoping that we'll be able to do in-person book releases, go on a book tour across the East Coast, you know, depending on if there's a phase 2 of Corona. We'll see what that looks like. Right. But just a lot of work, because at the end of the day, if you read the book, you watch the shows, all of it should say Black people can do anything. You can do anything if you believe in yourself. Right. And so like the book, the shows, the me being on different interviews, that's what it's all about. It's all to lead back to you loving yourself even more than you did the day before. But yeah, Mind Your Business and Prosper is a book about my life, but also how I overcame a lot of challenges. And you know, I've dealt with alcoholism. I started drinking when I was 15 years old. I stopped drinking on December 1st, 2017. From there, you know, like cold turkey is something I prayed about. And then like I plotted on for years, but I never had the courage. But something in me, December 1st, 2017, I quit cold turkey. I started losing weight. So people are like, Monica, you losing weight? Because I've changed my diet. I get colonics every month. I eat vegan. I'm so about just like healthy living. And those are also things that I put into the book, because it's not, success doesn't happen in a vacuum. You know, you don't just start putting your money in stocks and then you get rich overnight. Like, you invest in stocks, you invest in yourself, you read books, you change the way you eat, you change the way you speak, you change the way you think. You know, I don't have no TV in my home. To be a media person, I ain't got no TV in my home. I don't get bothered by other folks, and I literally mind my business and prosper. I'm here. I'm here. I do my thing. I get on the phone with my producers. I call people. I go outside. I live in New York City. It's the best city on the planet. I love it. With my mask on, and and so I'm really just like in love with life. And so I put that in the book, like to really be in love with life and to really just enjoy the process of all this. And wherever you end up, you control it because your spirit led you there. Not because Brother Dean said this is where you need to be, but now like I've been called to do this and I'm here. And when you follow that truth, no matter where you are, there you are. And that's the beautiful thing. And so really that's what the book is. I give out some business game, but like you are your business. And that's the most important business that you need to get concerned about.
Excellent. Any other closing questions or remarks? I guess.
I just wanted to.
Home now, so it ain't
give me 1 second. I want to get my charge. Give me 1 second.
Go ahead. I think this is a very healthy conversation. I want to encourage you to like the page for New Freedom Exchange. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, which this will be up on our YouTube channel as well. There was just New Freedom Exchange on YouTube. Get with us on that. We'd like to shout out some people who are tuned in. We have Brother Roz. We might have to keep this one up. He's shouting out from Prague, the Czech Republic. Woo-wee! We international, baby. I don't know if y'all see that. I don't know if you see that, man. We international. You know what I'm saying? Much love. Much love, right. Brother Ross tuning in from Prague, the Czech Republic. So shout out to those from Czech Republic. I just had one question in reference to if you could speak a little bit towards the mental health piece, because this is a big concern in the African American community. It's not really being talked about. I mean, now it's being talked about, but to a greater extent. But it has to be talked about more, in my opinion. With this being what they call Minority Health Month, this month of July that we're in, that's what they deemed it to be. Can you elaborate a little bit on your experience and how you dealt with your mental health and your self-care, and you have any tips or anything, if you don't mind sharing a little bit of that story to us,
No, for sure. I was just a little bit of my backstory. Mm-hmm. Born in Michigan, family from Michigan, so that Detroit hustler, factory worker is in my blood. But as a kid, at about 5 years old, my mother moved us to South Carolina, right? Mm-hmm. Me and my brother, just me, her, and my brother. And so from there, I knew that I wasn't from there, but I also just always kind of felt alone and isolated. Even though I got a big personality, I don't mind meeting people, I always felt like I was alone. And my mother was a single mother, she raised us, but she was always at work. So sometimes this woman was working 3 jobs. My favorite question to ask her is, where are you working at tonight? So I can have the emergency numbers, I can call her,
Right.
And so just that isolation. By the time I got to, high school, senior, I had been to 3 different high schools at that point, moving around. I drove myself to prom feeling like, I wish somebody would have gave me off the prom. I wish somebody would have, I could have had those prom pictures, I drove myself to college. My first school was I went to Stillman for my first year and a half. And I wish, when you get to school and you see other parents there with their kids, it's like, dang, I wish I would have had that. And so a lot of that started to eat at me, and just feeling like that aloneness and isolation. I'm dealing with my sexuality. I'm dealing with who am I and all these things. And on top of that, I'm a blossoming alcoholic. But when you're a freshman in school, you don't know that. And I'm clear on when I say alcoholic, there's people that don't think they're alcoholics, but they are. And so I speak about, I was an alcoholic. We go to the club every night. I'm 17 years old in college, and I could get into these clubs with a college ID. And so now here I am, I go to the bar, and the sister that works the bar is on the softball team. So she's sliding me, a drink, and I'm in the club and I think I'm grown, and all these things that you think are what you're supposed to be doing in college. And I speak about this in the book. You think that you're supposed to be doing it because there's peer pressure and it's cool and it's fun, are extremely detrimental to your mental health. And so, when you come down from your high or, wherever you are, you're in a low. When you come down from your high, you're low. And so still dealing with I feel alone. I feel abandoned. I feel neglected by my parents. Sure, I was taken care of. I got a full ride to this school. I had good grades, but I felt neglected emotionally, spiritually. And I was utilizing food and alcohol and at times sex to fill that void. And so I dealt with depression, at different periods. The first one was when I was at Stillman. I ended up leaving Stillman because I was depressed, and I didn't know what to do with it. And I remember going to the I don't know what they wore, but I told them I was depressed, and they sent me to this guy, and they didn't really know what to do with me. Like I think at this time, this conversation was just like. Like, do you have
figure it out? Yeah.
I felt like it was a funny conversation. Like, do you have insurance? Can you pay for this? Are you sure what it is? Are you like it just didn't feel like anybody was really concerned about me. And so, I just kept going. What Black people do, particularly what Black women do, we just keep going. We just keep up the show. And so that's what it became. I felt like it became a show, keeping up appearances. I'm at the club, we having fun, but I started to become very angry. I became very angry that I didn't have an outlet. I was angry that I still didn't feel like I was being loved, And so still just moving through life. I think it wasn't until maybe I was on the road traveling. I was working with the union, traveling across the country, making good money. Maybe too much good money at a young age and didn't know what to do with it. So I'm still living that life, but I'm at a point where it's like, I'm in a hotel in Chicago or LA or Anaheim or Miami, and I still feel alone. I got a fly rental car that I could go around the city and I could go to any restaurant I want, but I'm still alone. I remember being in a hotel in Anaheim, and that's where Disneyland is. And it's like, I'm seeing all of these flyers about Disneyland, but my family ain't here. Like, why would I go to Disneyland? Like, I can't even enjoy the city, And so it just really has had me like really analyzing my life and starting to do like the self work. And I found out about life coaching, and I knew that I was always good at helping other people. So I went through a life coaching certification program, and it actually did more to help me, When you go through these programs, like you actually take more for yourself. And so just really being able to like analyze, my thoughts and why I did things. And then I had a buddy that I used to organize with, and he gave up drinking cold turkey. And I was like, yo, how'd you do that? And he was like, yo, I went to therapy. And I was like, man, I wish I could do that. And he was like, Monica, you got insurance. And so here comes that insurance conversation. I was like, no, I do have insurance. And so, when I came back to New York, I found a Black woman, and so I started going to her for maybe about a year. And really, she ended up kicking me out because she was like, "Monica, you're fine now. You're good. But she helped me like really think about drinking. Right, when I would drink, I would have the sensation of being dehydrated. So really like thinking of my triggers, and so that also helped me. Not just with alcohol, but helping with food. When I see that cookie, oh, I want that cookie, but what's my trigger? And so really like breaking down my thought patterns helped me to start to break down like, all right, when I'm feeling depressed, I turn to ways to cope. And that's really what we're doing. And that's what something that Chantel talks about on the show is like, we're all finding different ways to cope. And at an early age, we teach each other terrible ways to cope, and so to do that, and so like I've been through therapy, and I'm big on really like putting myself out there because I always knew that I was here to be a servant, and so even with me just being vulnerable and saying like, yo, I had sexual abuse, alcoholism, emotional eating, all the things that we know that each other goes through, but a lot of people are too scared to talk about it or aren't even aware of what's happening. I put it out there like frank and blunt so that, like somebody else can be like, yo, I deal with that too. Oh, that's why you lost weight. That's why you look healthy. That's why your skin look good, Monica. Yeah, I was unhealthy for a very long time. Even though I'm still young, I started early, I started early with these unhealthy habits, and all of that played into the mental health. So now, like with my mental health, exercising, eating right, being verbal about how I feel, you know, and also, you know, we going on a full moon solar eclipse. You know, ain't no telling how I'm gonna feel tomorrow. I might be calling folks like, "Oh, it's gonna get crazy over here," you know. And then I gotta remember, yo, Monica, it's a solar eclipse. Calm down, stop calling people. You know, and so it's like really being aware of what's going on inside and you know outside. And but yeah, mental health is so important because I feel like, you know, my generation is also like, my mother wasn't a crack addict, but like I'm from the crack baby era, you know, and younger, you know, where so many of my peers have, you know, parents that have gone through all types of traumatic issues. Like me saying that I was taken care of and neglected is really like boo-hoo compared to a lot of people that have gone through serious trauma.
Right.
It's true.
Serious issues. And so we see that showing up in folks not being able to keep a job, not being able to get a job, not being able to have relationships, you know, reproducing the same experiences that they had. Suicide, we see that in the next generation. And so it's so important for me to be able to be a catalyst of programming around mental health, but then also young people are bringing that to me. You know, the first show that we did around mental health, Bayou's Corner, hosted and produced by Jasmine Baruch, Asia's daughter, she brought the idea to me about, you know, doing a mental health talk show for teenagers. And I'm like, yeah, that's brilliant. Heck yeah, I support that 100%. You know, and so I helped her through that process of, you know, bringing the show to life. And it's funny because I'm gonna tell on her, but we talk about this all the time. When it came to her shooting the pilot, and Jasmine is bubbly. She's so bubbly. So it's just a beautiful sister. When it came to the pilot, she gets in front of the camera, she freezes. And I'm like, hold on. I've been with you for a year on this show. Like, what's happening?
Right.
And she was like, oh, well, I kind of deal with a little bit of anxiety.
How come you tell me that before?
Right. Why didn't you tell me that before? But then also, this is her, you know, this is her, you know, connection to the show. And so here I am, I've been in business mode, and it's like, the baby girl deal with anxiety. Oh my goodness, now I got to be the mental health helper through this. Right. And so it exists everywhere. And I think with her generation, the next generation, there's this expectation of having to be great immediately. You got to be Jay-Z rich immediately.
Right.
You know? And that's hard because I remember seeing BETB, you know, in the basement, you know, and it was a it was a dungeon, you know, to be in where it is now, you know. And so we were able to kind of see those steps. We were able to see artists develop, you know, go from that homemade video to like, we got the X, you know, what's his name? The DMX. Yeah. You know, we got big time producers, and we had a big time budget. We on MTV now. We went from local radio to now we on MTV. And so, but now artists are just going mainstream immediately, you know, and so we don't get to see that climb. But like, because of who I am, I'm like, nah, put it on air. I'm sorry that you didn't still having a good day. We still gonna air it. Don't correct next time. You know, and it's really showing that process because people fall in love with the process. People will be like, yo, man, you came a long way. You was in that little studio with that one camera. Now you got 3 cameras. Now you got a network. Like, that's how you also build a brand. And so I know we were talking about mental health. But yeah, like, it's really about, like, I want to show people, one, the process, but then also, like, just falling in love with, like, where you are in life. And I feel like once I was true to myself and I realized I have a big personality. I'm loud. I'm funny. I like talking to people. I'm swaggy. I can't be in nobody's office. Right. You know? But I kept saying that was success. And so, like, after about 3 or 4 months, I'd be like, I ain't happy no more. I was like, I got the money, but I ain't happy no more. I don't like this. They asking me to do something I don't want to do, and I kind of signed up for it. Oh, I don't like this. And so once I, like, really, like, my depression went away with Young Boss Media because I'm where I'm supposed to be. You know, like I'm not fronting for nobody. I'm authentic. I'm giving you me. When this is over, I'm gonna go give somebody else me, and it's just gonna be me being me in the present. Versus, oh, I think this is what they want, and I feel like the expectation to be somebody other than you are creates a lot of mental anxiety. You know, and that's what I want to get rid of. If I don't do nothing else, I just want to tell you, be yourself and figure it out because you're gonna be broke no matter what. You're gonna be broke no matter what in this country trying to follow somebody else. So why don't you be broke and then build something for yourself? Period. If you, I don't care if you make $500,000 a year. If you under the thumb of somebody else, you're broke. You not rich until you follow your own spirit. If God ain't telling you to do it, it ain't right. Follow your spirit, and that's when you get the abundance and the richness. And so, of course, if you're not living your true self, you're gonna be depressed. You're gonna be depressed, as you should be. It's not right. It's not right.
Well, this is the new Declaration of Independence week, and she just laid it all the way out. So if you ain't catch that, like she said, not only are you broke, you're still in slavery. So just come on to freedom. Sister's coming back. She's giving all these tools that we can use across the board. No excuses. She's here for us, Sister Monica Grant. Thank you for coming on our show. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Well, first of all, we have to shout out there. Don't forget to mind your business and prosper. You know what I'm saying? YoungBossMedia.com/mind your business and prosper. It's out. You said it's out now for people can get it now or August.
It's a pre-order, and if you pre-order, you're gonna get my signature. You know, I'm gonna put a little love note. I might kiss it. You know,
So everyone go pre-order the book, Mind Your Business and Prosper. That's the website, YoungBossMedia.com/Mind Your Business book. Go get that. Monica Grant is also on Facebook, Monica Grant, on Twitter, on all the platforms, LinkedIn, everywhere, Monica Grant. Let me see what else we have to shout out. All her other platforms, she got the Young Boss Media Institute for all of for the scholars, for those who need internships, paid or non-paid, training youth in media. Check it out. It's a great initiative. I definitely applaud it. And this also the Africa one.
Oh yeah,
YoungBossAfrica.com.
Yes.
Can you address that real quick? Yeah,
because we have our international African brothers and sisters
absolutely.
online.
So shout out to all African people, all of us. I love y'all. This is really just the ancestors doing their work, you know, and I'm their child, you know. Coming from, you know, my experience on the continent, I always knew that I wanted to go back and to be a resource, to be an asset. And so with Young Boss Media, I always knew from the jump it was going to be a network and it was going to be global. And it was going to be global starting with the continent. And here's another blessing about Corona. So right before Corona started, I was at I was doing videography for an event at the Nigerian consulate like on March 11th. And so I met a young brother who actually got stuck in the country. So he's a Corona refugee. He got stuck in the country. And so we started chatting and I'm like, yo, you need to be my VP. You need to be the VP of Young Boss Africa. And he was like, yes, my dude. Anything your highness. I'm like, yeah. And so this young brother is like, one, he's a businessman, but he does a lot of humanitarian efforts on the continent. And he started connecting me to a lot of his peers, a lot of his friends that I should interview because I was already doing these mentorship calls. And so from there, really, having these conversations with a black pilot in South Africa. Shout out to Derek. I ain't never met no black pilots, you know, and so like we don't get exposed to that for real. Like we might see them on a flight, but we don't necessarily know that they exist, right? And so to be on a call all the way going to South Africa from New York with a beautiful brother, Derek, and he's like, yeah, you know, I'm from Uganda, but I live in South Africa, and he's telling me his story about how he went to aviation school, and it's like this is what we need to see, you know, on the continent, but also like as Black folks in America, we have to see our counterparts and what it means to be an engineer in Africa. How many Black engineers do we know that stay in the hood and stay Black, right? You know, like we know like people that get these degrees, but then they they start to move. You know, and so we don't have examples of them in our hood because they get up and leave. You know, I get it. It's the hood. I know. But to be able to see like sisters that are maritime, they work on the ships, sisters that are farmers, you know, like a high percentage, I don't know if like 70-80% of all farmers are women, you know? And so like just to be able to see these different people in these different areas and to be able to bring them onto the platform is one, empowering to us, because like, yo, like it's not just us, but also I'll be asking for a game, like, yo, so how can I invest in you? Like, yo, like, so what you need? Like, how do we do business in Africa? And like that's always the question I'm asking, because like, yo, I know people that want to make investments and long-term investments, but like now, like I'm setting up pathways to where, yo, if you want to invest in agriculture, there's people that will go ahead and get the land for you, and you can trust them, and they'll be like, yo, what crop you want to grow? You know, I'm like, yo, I want to grow coffee. Oh, well, you need to be in North Nigeria. Oh, you want to grow cassava. You need to be here, and you can get 2 hectares, 10 hectares, depending on your budget. And so really like connecting those dots for us now. And I believe that before Corona, I was going to have to be on the continent to make this happen, right? I was planning on like being in Senegal for Africa Day this year. But with Corona and my VP, I'm able to make these contacts now. And so I love Corona. Like I know a lot of people lost their lives, like you know, it ain't good for everybody. But Corona has actually created a lot of blessings and a lot of opportunities to connect virtually to where 2021, we can already, you know, like ain't no flights for real. And, you know, but for 2021, it's going to be great for Young Boss Africa because we have so many connections now that we can be on the continent in Nigeria, in Senegal, in Uganda, in Botswana, in Kenya, and wherever, right? All these different places that I've had interviews, we can be on the ground recording and also teaching. You know, and so my goal with Young Boss Africa is one, to teach young girls and youth how to produce media utilizing the basic materials. So if they got a cell phone, you can be a media maker. And you can advocate for your community utilizing your cell phone. And you can upload it to YouTube. You know, you can educate your people if you have a phone and some Wi-Fi. You know, how do we get Wi-Fi in these villages? How do we get Wi-Fi out to the rural area? Where do we get these solar panels from? And so I'm able to do a lot of work now virtually that I wasn't able to do prior to Corona. So one, shout out to Raphael, shout out to my VP, and then just shout out to the ancestors. Like this is they just know that I'm a work. They know that if they give me the ball, I'm gonna run it, you know. And so this just ain't nothing but the work that needs to be done.
And we got some connects over there too. That's how we started United Media. It was supposed to be a diaspora cooperative in media, because that's what they were trying to get over there in media in Ghana, in particular for the year of return. So we started Ghana Investment Tour, which is Davisha, DL Johnson Consultory, and Sister Cicely, who was on our show before. So I definitely send that contact to you for you to reach out to them as well.
For sure.
Yeah, no doubt. So excellent. We excellent show. You know, blew it out the box. You know what I mean?
I hope I passed it.
No, you gonna go. Yeah.
You exceeded expectations, sis.
Absolutely.
This show was crazy, man. But yes, we appreciate you, Sister Monica Grant, for blessing us with your insights, your experience, your story, all of this, all the great work that you are doing in the community for the people, to enrich other people, because that's the key. You know, our souls. Now we have a natural urge for establishing our community, a natural urge for a progression. It's a natural feeling, and if you're not having that natural feeling, then you have to do some reflection as to why you're not having it. Because right now, what we're experiencing is that human life is the first. Human life is being is looked at now as being degraded. You know, certain people have privileges than others out of human life. But we know that once you start degrading human life, then it's a problem. Yeah. Now you have people who are oppressed. You know what I'm saying? Who want to rise out of oppression. And my thinking is that, and I'm of the belief is that those who have been oppressed will rise on top, and will be the victors here. So what we are talking right about now is giving our people a sense of not only pride and hope and encouragement, but actually saying, like, listen, there is no need to be struggling no more, because there's beloved brothers and sisters out here who are actually putting in the work and have established avenues, to whereas you could just go in and just be like, hey, I need something, and we'll be able to provide it for you. That's the do for self mentality of the first resurrection, which we talked about mentioning yesterday with the Savior's Day address in 1975 with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The do for self. That's what we was talking about. You understand what I'm saying? That's the principle. You understand? So the principle is to be able to provide for you people what? Food, shelter, transportation. What else was it? Food,
well, clothing, now media. We got to provide everything everybody got.
Everything everybody got, we got to be able to provide it. So we appreciate you. Please let us stay connected. I sent you a personal Facebook request. Please accept.
I'm glad
I would like to stay connected because I'm also here in New York City, so I'm also involved with some other projects too. So we can talk offline about that. And let's connect, let us build. But that's all I have to say.
I'm all about business. Like the media house is really for us to utilize to build the community, to build our businesses. And so I'm all about the business. I'm all about connecting folks. So like whatever is going on, put me in. I'm down. I'm gonna give a blanket. I'm down. Just plug me in.
Excellent. So we have our next show later on this evening, 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock. So we thank her again, Sister Mana, for coming on. Check out all her social media platform. This is New Freedom Exchange, also simulcast with United Media Group. Special live after 3 a.m. We still rolling. So on the July 4th weekend, new Declaration of Independence. So after this week, guys, we give you so much content that you really got to be able to make that pivot and take it to the next level. No excuses. New Freedom Exchange. Thank you all for joining us. Until next time, peace. We're going to play as we start in the beginning. This is Brother Sharif Abdul
Malik. Come on, man.
Servant of the King. Abdul Malik. We give the call to prayer, which is our first Declaration of Independence for our soul. So again, thank you, Monica, for coming and joining us.
Thank you.
Our co-host, she slid there. Marsha came through last minute. Appreciate you, sis.
Thank you.
All right. Talk to y'all later.
Peace.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala salat. Hayya ala Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah.